Hello everyone, in today's history and civics class we are going to learn about military causes, immediate causes and main events of the war, means which states were involved in the uprising of 1857. So we are going to just look at the previous class what we learned. So political causes, social religious causes and economic causes. So the policies followed by Lord Dalhousie, the end of Mughal Empire, Bahadur Shah II, doctrine of lapse applied on Nana Sahib and Rani of Jhansi, annexation of Awadh, and because of annexation of Awadh, how did they disbanded the army of the annexed states, how it made the princess run away, and how the Britishers started to take our Indian economy. Next, social and religious causes. They started to interfere in cultural customs of India by spreading Christianity in government schools and jails, and they made some changes in religious matter like sati system, abolition of sati system, infanticides, polygamy, child marriage, and resentment among the Hindu and Muslim priests. The Hindu and Muslim priests felt that their religion is at stake, at danger. If they let the Britishers start spreading Christianity, they would not have anything to live for. Introduction of railways and telegraph. They thought that railway and telegraph was a means of punishing Indians who do not accept Christianity, and introduction of new law. Heavy taxes were paid for visiting temples and mosques. Ill treatment shown to the Indians. The Indians were treated very inferior. The Britishers thought that it is their responsibility to teach Indians some manners. Exploitation of economic resources. They started one-way trade, means whatever the Britishers buy, they will not have to pay any taxes, but whatever the Britishers sell, the Indians have to pay taxes. Subordination of Indian economy, which means whatever the changes take place in India will be according to the benefits of the Britishers. All the trade and industries started to get down. They faced heavy loss, and Indian handicrafts lost their livelihood because the raw materials was taken away by the Britishers to England. Because of annexation of Awadh, the Jagirdars and Zamindars left with nothing. There was nothing to take in charge of. So next one, unemployment of the Indian people. Because of annexation of Awadh, many officers, soldiers, nobles were unemployed. Though they started to educate Indians, but they did not give proper jobs to the Indians. Now we are going to learn about military causes. So military cause is nothing but the discontent among the Indian soldiers. What made the Indian soldiers feel dissatisfied by the Britishers? Though the Indian soldiers were the one who helped the Britishers to establish East India Company in India. First one, ill treatment of Indian sepoys. Indian sepoys and British sepoys were working in the same army, but there were no fellow feelings. There was no friendly feelings among the soldiers, whether they are British or Indian. The Indian soldiers were considered inferior to the English soldier. And not only that, the Indian soldiers were treated with disrespect. They were kicked during the training. They were abused. They were called niggers, swines, heathens. They were discriminated, etc. Next one, inferior status and low salaries. Though the nature of their work, British and Indian soldiers were same, but British soldiers were paid 8 times more than Indian sepoys. And the Indian soldiers' salary was so low that they could not even take care of their families. In this way, the Indian sepoy felt that it is totally injustice to them, and promotions were only supposed to mean for the British soldier. Indians had no chance of promotion. The maximum they had was subedars, and no high post for Indian soldiers in the army. They were treated very badly. Not only that, though they were working harder than the British soldiers, they were given only the rank of subedar. There was nothing more than that. Next one is General Service Enlistment Act. According to this act, an Indian sepoy working under the British had to travel overseas whenever required by the company. It means if the Britishers are fighting against some other country like France, Britain or Sardinia or any other country, then the Indian soldier had to support Britishers. But the Indian sepoy they believed that they may lose their caste, status or religion if they go overseas and fight. So they refused to accept this act by Lord Canning. He was the Governor General of India during the rebellion of 1857. Once after end of the revolt of 1857, the East India Company powers were transferred to Crown, means now monarch, by the British Queen. So during this time he became the first Viceroy of India. This act was introduced by Lord Canning. So this also created discontent among the Indian sepoys and they joined the hands of the revolt. Next, loss of British prestige in the first Afghan war. There was a myth in Indians' mind that the Britishers were invincible. Invincible means undefeatable. They cannot be defeated, and it was quite true. They were undefeatable actually. Why? Because when they came to India, they brought different development, their different equipments, their different weapons. For example, the Enfield rifle of 1853. By looking at all these bombardings, the guns and everything, the Indians thought that the Britishers were actually invincible. But this invincible myth was broken when the Britishers lost the first Afghan war. The first Afghan war was between the British East India Company and the Emirates of Afghan. It started in 1839 and ended in 1842. When the Indians came to know that the Britishers are defeatable, they gathered courage to take up arms against them. They felt that the Britishers could also be defeated. And next reason that the British lost their prestige was the Crimean War. The Crimean War, was a military conflict between Russian Empire and the small countries like Ottoman Empire, France, Britain and Sardinia. If these small countries were able to defeat the large power, the abundant power like Russian, then Indian state, if they gather together, they can also defeat Britishers. Next one, effect of annexation of Awadh. Now, as we know that Awadh was annexed under the pretext of misgovernment by Lord Dalhousie. But in 1757, a large number of soldiers of Awadh were transferred to Bengal army. Including the Bihar army also, and around 1,25,000 soldiers were transferred to Bengal army because Bengal was large province. And if Bengal alone could stand against Britishers, At that moment itself, India could have got our freedom. So now when these Awadh soldiers who were in the Bengal army came to know that the Awadh was annexed under the pretext of misgovernment, the Bengal army consisted mainly of the soldiers drawn from Awadh. They sent a wave of resentment among them and inflamed their feelings against. So next one, numerical strength of Indian soldiers. Though the Indian soldiers were under the control of Britishers, but the British troops were very less compared to the Indian soldier. Indian soldiers were 5 times more than the British troops. So the Indian soldiers took up arms against the English because they knew that if they join their hands together, they can form the most powerful army against the British. Now, last cause for the uprising of 1857, which is the immediate cause which added fuel to the fire, was the greased cartridges. So the greased cartridges were actually the Enfield rifle. The Enfield rifle, the opener was greased with the pig curve and pig fat, actually tallow and lard. So the soldiers has to tear open end of the cartridges with their teeth, and they have to pour the powder into the muzzle of that rifle. Then they have to thrust it with the ramrod so that it can fit beneath the rifle, and it could cover large number of the range actually. But the problem was, cow greased rifles were given to Hindus. Why? Because Hindus considered cow as goddess, and it was against their religion. And pig was considered unacceptable by the Muslims, which was given to the Muslim soldier. And the main intention of the government was to defile religion of Hindu and Muslim soldier, and in which in future that could lead to the gap between the wedge between Hindu and soldier, and they can fight against each other. So the Indian sepoy became infuriated, angry, and rose in revolt of 1857. So these were the causes for the uprising of 1857. So when this uprising started, which were the state which affected, or which were the state who were involved in this uprising of 1857? Talking about the main events, it started with Mangal Pandey. Mangal Pandey was a Brahmin sepoy, and he believed in military. He was a total man with ethics. So he became the first martyr who lost life at the altar of the freedom movement. He was the first leader to lose life at the table. He was the first served man in the Indian army actually. He was made soldier in the 6th Company of Bengal Native Infantry. And what was his mistake was, he refused to use greased cartridges because he was a pure Brahmin. He did not wanted to defile his religion. In that case, English officers fought against him, and 2 officers were killed by Mangal Pandey. As a result, he was hanged on 8 April 1857. And his sacrifice created havoc in every nook and cranny of India, and it resulted in general uprising in Meerut, Delhi, Kanpur, Lucknow, Jhansi, and many other states. When it comes to Meerut, it started on May 6, 1857, and the leader who led the revolt was Kadam Singh. And the British officer who was against Kadam Singh was William Hewitt. After the after the death of Mangal Pandey, other 86 soldiers in Meerut refused to use the grease cartridges. On this pretext, British officer William Hewitt arrested these 86 sepoys, and they also were sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. But excitement was that the other soldiers amongst the 80, with this 86, they came to Meerut jail, they attacked the jail, they released the prisoners, they killed the English officers, and also they set the bungalows of English on fire. And after this, they had nowhere to go. The British officers were searching these soldiers to kill them down. So they had only way was to go to Delhi. The leader was Bahadur Shah II. When not only Meerut soldier but also many other soldiers from many other part of the country started to pour into Delhi actually, and Bahadur Shah II gave them shelter against British East India Company. During this time, John Nicholson besieged, means captured Delhi. They captured Delhi. But Bahadur Shah II was able to send letters to each and every king and ruler of India to unite. And Bahadur Shah became the symbol of India's political unity. He became the rallying point of all those who wanted to put an end to the foreign rule. And he helped many other soldiers to get shelter. And after that, after besieging of Delhi, this turned into revolutionary war. But this revolutionary war did not last longer. It came to an end on September 21 with the arrest of Bahadur Shah II, and he was sent to Rangoon, an island. He was sent to Rangoon, and after that, General Neil killed many soldiers and people mercilessly under his supervision. And here one more thing which was really surprising was, once Bahadur Shah II was declared the Emperor of India, Nana Sahib also supported this fact. Because of this, Hindu-Muslim unity was formed, which was the need of the hour. So, influenced by Bahadur Shah II, it led to Kanpur. In Kanpur, Nana Sahib, along with Tantia Tope and Azimullah, he gave a tough moment to British. But when the Britishers were not, Henry Havelock was not able to defeat Nana Sahib, the British government announced the award of rupees 1 lakh for the capture of Nana Sahib. With the large army and better equipment, General Havelock was able to capture Nana Sahib. He was able to defeat, and he recaptured his city, Kanpur. And the chief burden of the fighting now fell upon Tantia Tope, who was, Nana Sahib was supported by Tantia Tope. Once after the capture of Nana Sahib, Tantia Tope had to take over Kanpur, and the whole burden was upon him. And Henry Havelock was able to seize the city again and reoccupied the whole administration. So, leading to Lucknow. As we know, Lucknow, the Queen of Awadh, was taking the lead, and it started on March 1. It is so surprising that the great uprising at Lucknow was led by the Begum of Awadh, and she was able to organize all-out attack on British and besieged Sir Henry Lawrence. What an achievement. And he was also shot dead by Hazrat Mahal. When Sir Henry Lawrence was shot dead, Havelock came to Lucknow, and surprisingly, even Havelock lost number of soldiers, including General Neil. He is the same person who has killed large number of soldiers, thousands of soldiers and people in Delhi actually. And Henry Havelock failed to recapture Lucknow. At that time, Sir Colin Campbell came to Lucknow with large army, and he reached there with more enforcement. He defeated the rebels and recaptured Lucknow in 1858. And here also large number of people were murdered in cold blood, leading it to Banaras and Allahabad. Here it started in May 1857. It was led by Maulvi Liaquat Ali against General Neil again. So here Maulvi Liaquat Ali, the revolutionary, revolted and killed many English soldiers and officers. And General Neil reached Banaras and crushed the uprising of Banaras, and very badly, in inhuman atrocities, means very cruelly. And there was a rising in Allahabad now with Maulvi Liaquat Ali. So the rebels succeeded in capturing the fort of Allahabad and city as well. But General Neil arrived on the scene and put down the rebellion by his harsh policy. Again, thousands of soldiers were murdered in the revolt of Allahabad. Leading to Bihar, started at July 25. The Bihar revolt was led by Kunwar Singh. He started this revolt of Bihar with this small kingdom of Jagdishpur, and later on Jagdishpur was annexed by Britishers. So he extended his operation with Rewa, Bhanda and Kalpi. With their help, he was able to, with the help and also with the help of Nana Sahib here. Nana Sahib also helped Kunwar Singh, and he was in a very vigorous fight, and he died in the revolt of Bihar actually. After his death, Amar Singh, who was the brother of Kunwar Singh, he commanded the rebels after his death. All his companions were killed in one of the battle, and he was forced to run away. Even Amar Singh was forced to run away. So the Britishers were able to crush the revolt in Bihar as well. So this is the map where the British conquest of India started. Starting with the Meerut, then leading to Delhi. After that, it led to Kanpur, then Lucknow, Banaras, Allahabad, Bihar. Then came the central Indian provinces, which were the important part. Like every one of us know how the central Indian provinces were annexed by the Britishers. Here it is, central India. It was led by, the revolt in central India was led by Rani Lakshmi Bai. As all of us know how fearful lady she was. And she was joined by Tantia Tope, a supporter of Nana Sahib. And as all of us know that the rebel in central India were led by a brave and patriotic lady, Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi. She was joined by, valiant General Tantia Tope. The Rani fought like a true heroine. Her courage and military skill inspired her countrymen, and they also united. She seized Gwalior from Scindia. Scindia were the supporters of Britishers. Okay, she fought gallantly, but Jhansi was captured by English with the help of some traitors. Actually, some traitors who were in Jhansi, who were the uh, cousins or relatives of Jhansi, Lakshmi Bai's husband actually, and the Rani fled towards Kalpi at that time. At that time, Tantia Tope was there waiting for Lakshmi Bai. And when she fled to Kalpi, English Governor General Hugh Rose also fled after her. But Rani Lakshmi Bai did not lose her heart, and she shown such a valor and determination as was shown by the great heroine of the national movement. She was really furious. She really wanted to fight for Indian, and the reason for fighting against the British was the doctrine of lapse. She wanted a heir to look after Jhansi, and Lord Dalhousie did not agree for it. He introduced the policy of doctrine of lapse, and Jhansi of Rani has to oppose it. So along with Tantia Tope, she fell on Gwalior and she seized it from Scindia, and Scindia was very loyal to Britishers actually. Then Scindia has to take refuge with English at Agra. So Sir Hugh Rose advanced towards Gwalior and defeated the rebels along with Rani. And Rani died fighting on the battlefield. Tantia Tope fled from there, and later on he was also hanged. He was caught and hanged. So in this way, end of uprising 1857 was taken place. So in the next class, we are going to learn about the results and consequences of the Great Uprising of 1857. So please take down the notes, mark the important